Was this scene last Saturday that has led to another attack tonight? This time, Israel is hitting back and hitting back hard to Iran's massive missile and drone attack over the weekend.
Iranian television moments ago showing this video, which shows flashes in the sky as the world waits to learn more and see what will happen next.
Eyewitness News reporter Josh Einiger was in Israel for the past week.
He just got back this afternoon here with us tonight with details of Israel's response. Josh.
Well, David, Shadi, it's been 5 nights since Iran fired a barrage of missiles and drones from its sovereign territory and into Israel. And in the days since, Israel's war cabinet has been silent, conspicuously so, about its plans. But they're making a lot of noise tonight. In the past hour, ABC News is reporting Israeli missiles hit a site in Iran. Iranian state media says it's south of Tehran in an area that is home to a major fighter jet squadron of the Iranian Air Force, and that air defense batteries have been activated in that area. It's too early to know definitively what, if anything, was actually hit, or if any other sites in Iran or Iranian proxies elsewhere in the region might have been targeted as well. The Biden administration and other Western countries have been mounting a massive diplomatic effort to convince Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu essentially to turn the other cheek after last weekend's onslaught of drones and missiles, nearly all of which Israel was able to intercept and prevent any widespread damage or casualties. Iran, though, has vowed to level up its retaliation if Israel strikes back.
In case of a repeated adventure-seeking and adventurism of the Israeli regime, what will our maximum response be? I can only say that it will be carried out at a maximum level, and it will be regretful for them. The details have been planned by the armed forces of my country.
Now, there had been some thought Israel might wait until after the 8 days of Passover, which start Monday night, but apparently they have started the counterattack tonight instead. How widespread their targeting may be, what Iran does now in response, all of that remains to be seen tonight. Sade and David.
Josh, thank you. And as Josh mentioned, the sun just started to come up in Israel. People will just be learning of the attack when they wake up.
Joining us now from Tel Aviv, ABC's Matt Gutman. Matt, what kind of reaction are you seeing in Israel on the direct attack on Iran?
David, in the streets, not much. It's just dawn that's breaking right now. We see a little traffic starting here. But I've been reaching out to the IDF all morning, and they are awake, answering texts, but they're not saying anything about this attack at all at this point. Everybody is going to be waiting when they hear the news for the other shoe to drop. Is Iran going to respond as it telegraphed, ferociously, immediately, harshly? We don't yet know, but this is, as Josh just mentioned, just the start of the Passover holiday, which begins on Monday. Everybody is off in this country, so it's unclear what the reaction is going to be. But obviously, there is going to be a lot of concern here, especially in Tel Aviv.
Yeah, a lot of concern indeed, Matt. You know, this has been just a tense time in Israel since the October 7th attack. Then you have last Saturday's attack by Iran. Clearly, today's retaliation is just going to add to the tensions there.
Absolutely. And we have to wait and see what happened in Iran specifically, and that's going to be coming out in the coming hours. We know that the central city of Isfahan was hit. U.S. officials confirming that it was an Israeli strike, some sort of explosion. We don't know the method of delivery, if it's missiles or bombs or drones. We don't know what that exact site was. We don't know if there are casualties yet. That's all going to be coming out. And I think to some degree, the Iranian response will be calibrated against what was hit. We know that Isfahan and that area has a pretty significant military base. We know there's an international airport there. We know there are possible Iranian nuclear assets in that region. So this could, whatever we find out, will likely respond to what kind of response the Iranians will have. We understand from the U.S. that Israel has been listening to it, that it had this incredible strategic victory in knocking out the vast majority of those missiles and drones from Saturday night's barrage, an historic barrage, the largest of its kind in warfare ever. And the U.S. has been urging Israel to pocket that win and not respond or retaliate in a very minimal or symbolic way. We don't know exactly yet what that response was. So the coming hours are going to be very, very fraught here, you two.
Yeah, they certainly
Sade and
will.
David.
Matt Gutman reporting live from Tel Aviv. Thank you, Matt.
Please stay safe, you and the crew. Let's get Josh Einiger back in. He just returned from Israel. In fact, Josh, you got off a plane just a few hours ago.
I did, and it's a fraught time in Israel, as you heard Matt talk about, David and Sade. You know, it's Tel Aviv, looking at Tel Aviv behind where Matt is standing. You know, it's early in the morning, and we're going into Shabbat, the Sabbath weekend, and it's Passover in the next couple of days. But there are a couple million people who live there who are just basically along for the ride at this point.
Yeah, and Josh, when you were there, what were Israelis saying about the possibility of the counterattack that we witnessed tonight?
Yeah, you know, a lot of people were stunned at how seemingly out of proportion that the strike on Saturday was, because remember, the strike on Saturday, Sade, was to respond to Israel's attack on a consular facility in Syria that belonged to Iran, and a few Iranian military officials were killed in that strike. This was the response to that. It was more than 300 drones and missiles fired kind of all over the country, over the old city in Jerusalem and areas that are populated. And so that was something that people were really surprised about. And so, you know, there are people that we've spoken to on the street. I didn't speak to a single Israeli when I was there on the street, and I asked a lot who had any kind of appetite for a war with Iran. People were hopeful that their government would sort of take the win, as it were. It showed its defensive superiority. It was able to knock down 99% of the projectiles that came their way and really save face in that way. But obviously Netanyahu and the war cabinet had other ideas, and so we'll have to see really what type of escalation we're looking at now that the ball is really in Iran's court.